continue, we got a real treat for you right now, folks. In fact, joining us via Zoom is the one and only Troy Aikman as we get a chance to talk about something we love here on the show, beer, specifically Elite Light Lager. And that's the 8 Elite Light Lager, which is going to be here in El Paso, and obviously getting a chance to spend a little time with Troy Aikman to talk a little beer and some football on the show is something that we really enjoy. First off, we appreciate you joining us via Zoom, and thanks so much for the time today, Troy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you so much. Pleasure to be on your show.
Tell me about your venture into the world of beer and really how long 8 Elite Light Lager has been in the works.
Well, it's been in the works for over 2 years. I had loosely been involved, I guess, in the beer business. I worked for a beer distributor when I was in college before I transferred to UCLA. And then I've got some really close friends that are in the distributing business, done a lot with their companies. And then I was a spokesman for a couple brands there nationally over the years, but never imagined that I'd be making my own beer. But I met my now partners through a mutual friend, started talking about it. Felt that category, I've always been a beer drinker. I've always been a light beer drinker, and felt that category was in need of something new and something fresh, and thought we could do it a little bit differently. So we started down that path, and 8 was born, and I'm really proud of the end product.
Now, you could have gone in a lot of beer directions because craft beer has exploded over the last 10 plus years, but you said it, you drink light beer. So was that really the inspiration to come up with a 90-calorie beer that was also low in carbs and something that could just be an alternative to what a lot of people are drinking today?
Yeah, 100%. I just wanted everything that I've tried to do it because it's authentic to who I am. And so when we began talking about it, I said, I'll be interested if in fact it's a light beer, low calorie, low carb beer, and it fits my lifestyle and it's consistent with the beer that I drink. And so there was never any way it was going to be different from that in order for me to be a part of it. And we started down that path. And what has differentiated us from others is that we have no adjuncts and no fillers. There's no corn, no rice, no syrups, no added sugars. We're an all malt light beer, and we did not sacrifice taste at all. We have a lot of flavor for such a light beer that, as you said, 90 calories, 2.6 carbs, organic ingredients. I refer to it as a better for you beer. And it's a lifestyle brand, quite honestly. We gear it towards people. We call them early risers, but it's people who wake up in the morning, who have a purpose and a passion to be their best and are willing to put in the work to do their best. And I work hard during the week. I'm very mindful of what I put into my body. But at the same time, I also enjoy having a beer with family and friends. And I like having a beer to celebrate life's small victories. And so I want to be able to do that without sacrificing all of the hard work during the week. And I feel that 8 beer allows me to do that.
Meanwhile, as you started getting deeper and deeper into this, talk about the education of really what it goes into making beer and what you've learned along the way as you've tried to perfect 8 Elite Light Lager.
Well, I learned a lot. I will tell you that. I've always been pretty good at drinking it. Never was one that knew how to make it. And we partnered with the Oregon State University Food and Science Department. They've got a fantastic beer program. Got some real experts involved in it. I've been through a lot of breweries. I've been through the process as to how the beer is all put together. I'm still not an expert in that space. There's a lot to it. What I didn't realize, probably the biggest education, is that the category that we chose, first of all, is the most competitive of all the categories in beer. But I didn't realize how hard a light beer is to make. Because you can't hide any impurities. So you've got to be really on your game, especially for the beer that we're making. So it's challenging, but we've got the right people who are doing it. And like I said, I'm really proud of what we've come up with.
Troy, the 8 Elite Athlete Network is also up on your website right now with an application process. Can you tell us a little bit about what this is about?
Yeah, basically, we want some athletes that represent what we feel the beer represents, and that is those that want to be their best. And I say their best. It's not always athletic. It's not always an athletic endeavor, but it's those who wake up and have a passion and a purpose, and want to be, whether they want to put in the work to be the best person they can be, or to build a business, or to pursue a dream, whatever that might be. The people that have inspired me over my life are the ones who have been willing to put in the work to achieve whatever it is that is important to them. And this is who this beer 8 has been made for. It's a lifestyle brand. So for those people that you mentioned, our brand athletes, they represent what our beer represents. I feel like I represent what our beer represents, which was important because every step of the way of this company I've been involved in, and every part of it is consistent with my beliefs and who and what I've been and what I am.
Troy Aikman with us here on Sports Talk as we continue. So this could be anybody from just a weekend workout warrior. Could we potentially see NIL deals with college athletes as well?
I don't expect that. No, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of this whole NIL thing. I am a fan of athletes being paid, of college athletes being paid. As a former college athlete myself, I understand the challenges of the student athlete. So I was in favor of that, but I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. But NIL to me, from what I know of it, just feels like a really slippery slope, and it changes the dynamic of the amateur athlete, and I think the college experience.
If you were right now in your college prime, let's just say like you were at UCLA, but you were transported into 2022. So social media and the internet and everything the way it is right now, would it have been tough for you to, grow on and off the field like you did years ago when really we didn't have nearly what we have today as far as, social media and people being able to interact with each other?
It's a really good question. I've never thought of it in terms of my development as a quarterback. I have thought about it in my development as a broadcaster, and I think my path and journey would have looked much different had I broken into this business when social media was around. Because when I did in 2001, there wasn't yet social media, there wasn't Twitter, there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't any of those things. So that has changed. As far as development of young athletes, I think it has impacted the sports world in some way. I think that, not necessarily in a bad way, but I think that athletes now are aware. There's a lot of talk about brand building and what that might mean, and social media plays a big role in that. So it has impacted, I think, the individualism of team sports and the athletes themselves.
Troy Aikman with us here on Sports Talk as we continue. You know this area well because 8 Elite Light Lager will be coming to El Paso now. People have a chance to purchase it, drink it, and enjoy it like you've been talking about during this conversation. But you came here 25 years ago when the idea of putting a controlled scrimmage in the Sun Bowl first started to surface. I covered those games at the same radio station, and it's crazy to think it's been that long. But for 3 years in a row, Troy, the Cowboys were here, and we were putting 40,000 plus in the Sun Bowl to essentially just watch a controlled scrimmage.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I was just talking to somebody about El Paso and about those scrimmages that we would have, and the atmosphere there was electric. I mean, you were there, you remember it. It was phenomenal, the support that we had. I have not spent a great deal of time in El Paso since. UCLA played in the Sun Bowl one year. I went down. I was still playing whatever year that was. I will tell you, I just told my partner, Doug Campbell, yesterday here in Dallas. We were at an event together, and we had such a great response in San Antonio last week when we were there. I said, you know what? I really want to go to San Antonio. I want to put together a couple-day event in San Antonio and see those people again, because they were fantastic when I was there for that scrimmage, and would love to be back down there and be a part of it. So I should be getting back down to El Paso soon in the coming weeks ahead of us. and we'll definitely let you and everyone know about that. But yeah, great experience. I love the whole setting, that stadium with the mountains right there, and just fantastic. So a special part of Texas for sure.
No doubt. And there were even rumors after those scrimmages that the Cowboys could have possibly moved their training camp to El Paso. They were talking about building a whole complex because it's a pretty big deal. Jerry came here and obviously was impressed with what he had a chance to see. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Oilers, the Raiders, and the Chargers might have been the three teams you went up against those 3 seasons.
Well, I was waiting for you to say the Chargers because I knew one year it was the Chargers. And what I remember from that is that the Chargers flew in from San Diego. It was a shorter flight from San Diego to El Paso than it was from us from Dallas. And I thought, if you ever want to know just how big the state of Texas is, comprehend that for a minute, that coming from Dallas was a longer trip than coming from San Diego to go to El Paso, Texas.
It's pretty crazy. Now, your friendship with Babe Laufenberg is well chronicled from your days playing together with the Cowboys till today. And I know that as being as close as to Babe and Jason Garrett, for that matter, as you are, obviously the Luke Laufenberg story, very well chronicled here in El Paso, and what he meant to the UTEP community and what obviously the Laufenberg family is all about. That is near and dear to your heart, and your friendship even consisted of a big contribution as Babe started to put the Luke Laufenberg fight station together here at UTEP.
Yeah, El Paso and UTEP has become a special part of my life because of my relationship with Babe Laufenberg, and then of course his sons, both of his sons. And you mentioned Luke, who passed, and the people there in El Paso that are associated with the university, they're certainly aware of it. And I know Babe continues to support the program and what he's continued to do in memory of Luke. And so I through Babe last night, I just had a conversation with your quarterback, Gavin Hardison. Talked to him. They start spring ball today. And he's going to be wearing number 2 in memory of Luke. So that's a big honor for him. I know that he's excited about it, and I'm pulling for UTEP. I've got my UCLA Bruins. I pull for Southern Methodist University. My daughter goes there. It's right in my backyard here in Dallas. But UTEP is on that short list of universities that I follow with a passion.
That's awesome. And I'm telling you, the fact that you had a chance to talk to Gavin is terrific because he's spent the last couple of years now quarterback wearing that number 2 this season. And obviously, if Gavin Hardison has a big season, chances are the Miners are going to have a pretty big season as well.
Well, no question. And that's, I think the quarterback's always had an impact on the success of these football teams going back to even when I was playing, but now more so than ever. So I'm really pulling for him. I know he's looking forward to a bright future and can't wait to see how he performs and how the team performs throughout the year.
I want to keep going with the UTEP football talk, Troy. The UTEP nutrition station in name of Luke Laufenberg has been a big success lately. Dana Dimmel talked about your contributions to it. I mean, why was this so important for you to get accomplished here in El Paso as well?
Yeah, it's through those that we care and we love, and through my friend, Babe Laufenberg was my backup when I first started in the NFL at the age of 22. He lived above me in the apartment complex that I was at. On our days off, he would call me up and invite me up. He'd be cooking breakfast. I'd go up and have breakfast. It was a miserable year. I was 0-11 as a starter. He was 1-15. I tried cooking him dinner one time. He still makes fun of me and tells me it's the worst meal he's ever had in his life. But through that relationship, through our friendship, and no, I can't imagine. I've got 2 daughters, 19 and 20 years old. I don't think any parent can. And there are parents out there who have had to endure the loss of a child. My heart breaks for a special friend. And so something that's important to him, I want to rally and get behind, is why I have supported it and why I continue to support the UTEP organization.
I love how close you still are to this day, both with Babe and Jason Garrett. And sometimes we'll see the three of you together and Babe will put a picture up or you'll put a picture up. It shows me that, even it's been so many years removed from playing with each other with the Cowboys, friends for life.
Well, I'm asked a lot about my experiences in the NFL and even college, high school. I think we can all relate to it. I think sports is the common denominator when you can get people and bring them together for a common goal. I think our politicians could probably learn a lot from sports. But yeah, we had a lot of great games, a lot of great wins and things of that nature. But what came of those years and those experiences are the relationships and the friendships that were forged. And it's what I'm most proud of. So yeah, Jason, Babe, I could go through a long list. Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Kevin Gogan, there's a lot of them. But those are lifelong friends that will never change.
How often do people ask you, in your opinion, the greatest quarterback in the history of the Cowboys franchise?
Well, I was with Roger Staubach, the greatest of them all, yesterday. And so I don't get asked that often because it's pretty unanimous that he's the greatest that ever has worn the silver and blue and the star on his helmet. Whenever he's with me, he always at the mic says, and I'm here with the best quarterback in Cowboys history. And it's, he diffuses it before I have the chance to say it, I guess. But he's been the standard not only for Cowboys quarterbacks, but just how to live a life. He's incredible.
Troy Aikman with us here on Sports Talk. So you go through your entire NFL career with one franchise, which is so rare, especially these days, and the era of free agency. But you play the whole time as a Cowboy, and then you have an incredible run as a broadcaster. And for the first time in your life, really since your college days, you find yourself now a free agent. What's that like for you?
It's been exciting. It's been good. It's been interesting. I think what's come of it is I think you get a different appreciation for how you're valued or what others think of you. For 21 years, I knew how Fox viewed me, but I didn't know how I was viewed outside of that company. And so for now to be able to talk to others with other networks and hear them tell me what they think of my work and the job that I've done for the last 2 decades, it's felt good. It's been rewarding in that respect.
Do people have any idea what goes into each broadcast as far as your homework and behind the scenes go? Because as a quarterback, they know the preparation you got to put in for every game as a player. But as a broadcaster, how many do you think most people probably have no idea when they watch you every week, really what you have to do to get yourself ready for every game broadcast?
The answer to that is an easy no, and I'm not sure that even some people within networks understand the amount of work that goes into it. I had a boss years ago. I was commenting about something about our schedule, and he said, "Look, all I know is you work 3 hours a week." And I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, he really has no idea what I do for a living." That there's a lot of work, and I've read recently about some coaches who may come out of coaching and go into broadcasting and are saying, yeah, you work 1 day a week. And you never work just 1 day a week. I mean, there's work that goes into each and every day. So, I was on a Thursday, Sunday schedule for the last 4 years, and it's a load. I mean, it is a lot, and it's all consuming. One game a week is not as bad, but no, there's a lot that goes into it. I guess you never feel like you know everything you need to know. There's always more that you could know going into a broadcast, more you could know about a situation or about a player or a coach or a team or whatever it might be. Some people get away with less. For me, it requires a lot for me to be able to get to a comfort level to where I feel I can go in and do the game the way that I feel it needs to be done.
How about your relationship with Joe Buck, especially off, out of the broadcast area?
Well, we've been together for 20 years. He's been my broadcast partner. We've gone through a lot of life experiences together, and we've traveled a lot together. We're best friends. We travel together in the off season. We used to do more of that because I used to golf. I gave up golfing about 5 years ago. He's still an avid golfer and a really good player, but we spend a lot of time together. We go have dinners. We're planning on getting together here in the coming weeks. I'm going to go see him in St. Louis. He's got a new place. I've been down to Mexico where he's got a place, but I know in this business that not that partners don't get along, but I think it's rare that partners are as good of friends out of the broadcast booth like Joe and I are. And we don't take that for granted. I think it's what has allowed us to have the success that we've had. I think viewers, when they hear us, I think they can tell, because I don't think you can fake that. I don't think you can fake chemistry. I think the viewer senses, wow, these guys really do like each other and they really do get along. And I think it's part of our success. I think it's a big part of our success.
Troy, as we wrap things up, I want to mention the website, 8beer.com. That's 8 spelled out, 8beer.com. You mentioned possibly coming to El Paso in the future. I think that would be great, especially since 8 Elite Light Lager is now here in El Paso. 90 calories, 2.6 carbs, folks. And as Troy's been telling us throughout this interview, it's a lifestyle, and that's what got him into this and why he's so passionate about this beer. Even says on the top of the can, no shortcuts. And that really sums up what 8 Elite Light Lager is about. Can you see more beer being made along the same styles in the future? Or do you like the idea of just having one beer, one type, and branding it like that here, for years to come?
Yeah, great question. Right now, we're locked in on 8 Elite Light Lager and just making this the best light beer that we possibly can. But with that said, we've sat around and kicked around ideas like, hey, what if we were to get into a non-alcoholic type beer? What if we were to get into, maybe something a little more full-bodied rather than a light beer? What might that look like? What might we call that? So we've had those conversations, but quite honestly, we're locked in on this one. We're on premise right now in select bars and restaurants across the state of Texas. That began on February 1st, and we will be in stores beginning April 1st. So excited for that next rollout off premise and getting it into more people's hands, and getting their feedback on what they think of it.
Congratulations, obviously, on the beer. And hey, we want to just thank you for all the time you've given us today. Great getting a chance to sit down and talk to you, and really excited about everything happening with the beer. Obviously, your connection to the Laufenberg family in UTEP, and look forward to seeing you when you come back in town.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.